What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Coast2Coast podcast, bringing you a new segment here. We're calling it Sunday Talk. We're answering your guys' questions from the Instagram, a little rapid fire style, So, first question here we've got is from Samit Singh. How are the Nuggets' chances without Murray? And is Utah a real threat in the Western Conference? What do you guys think about that?
I'll go first. I'll tackle the first part. So in terms of Murray, I was thinking about this, and when we saw from the playoffs last year, Murray was able to dominate in the last clutch of the games, and he was the go-to guy in terms of shot creation. So I think it definitely worsens him, and I don't think Monte Morris is near the value that Jamal Murray provides. It's going to have to see a step from MPJ. He's got to be that first option on the wing and needs to continue to dominate. He's been really efficient this year, and he's got to keep doing that. But I take the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Jazz, Blazers, and even the Suns over them at this point because I think Murray's so valuable to this team.
Yeah, especially after trading away Gary Harris.
Yeah, true. But Gary, I don't know. Gary was just such an offensive liability for them. He was good defensively, but it just doesn't help when the reason they're gonna beat teams is because of their offense, and when he's out there, he just doesn't really add much to it. But first of all, shout out to me, pickup basketball legend. But I feel the same way that Liam does. I just don't really see without Murray, because there's just so much scoring that they're gonna miss, and MPJ and Jokic are just really, really gonna have to step up, and they both have the capability to do that. It's just a lot to ask of them. And then also with Utah being a real threat, yeah, they are, but also with the Lakers fully healthy, I just see the Lakers they're in their own tier when they're healthy, and then it drops a tier, and then I think they're them, the Suns, the Clippers, and then maybe the Blazers, and maybe the Nuggets if they're healthy. But I think those three teams are kind of all in the same tier, the same boat. So yeah, definitely a real threat. If they make it to the conference finals, I would not be surprised. But also if they got knocked out in the second round, I wouldn't be surprised either. So
yeah.
I just put that. I think Conley, Clarkson, Bogdanovich got to step up for them. I think Mitchell and Gobert are going to bring it out there. And if they go against the Lakers, I think the reason to stop them, they got to stop AD, because I think when you stop AD, it forces LeBron to make his other guys work for them. And they haven't really been that talented outside of, some good games from Kyle Kuzma out there or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Gobert's going to bring it, but also they're going to bring him out. And that's going to be a real testament to their team. If they can survive that, if Gobert can handle himself in those pick and rolls, because their teams are going to do that till they can stop it. So
yeah. All right, moving on to the next question. We got my boy Ibrahim Dagger. He's asking, who's the most underrated NBA player right now? Thoughts? There's a few guys.
I got one. Not really just for numbers sake, but just his impact on the team. I got Seth Curry, someone that's shooting the shit out of the ball. 45, 41, 89% splits, and just really, you look at Philly's offense last year, and they were just such a mess. Just no spacing, super clunky on offense. And now adding him and also Danny Green has been helping them a lot. I know he gets slandered all the time, but he does have really nice moments. But Seth Curry changed their offense. The spacing is really great now for them. And he is a perfect pick and roll partner for Embiid, because I think, Ben, it doesn't really work like that with him and Joel, just because Ben can't shoot. But I think when you have Curry in that pick and roll, something that is extremely important to success, offensively in the NBA today, it just really changes their offense for the better. And just, he's one of the main reasons why they're a 1 seed right now.
Yeah, facts. Great pick.
I'll just be quick with it. I talked to Karsh about this before Jose joined the podcast earlier, but I know I got people like De'Aaron Fox, Colin Sexton, Brandon Ingram, and DeMar, but a guy who's been on a winning team who literally just had a 25 and 24 game just today, it's Clint Capella. I think he's a guy who got literally traded for nothing, got dumped off when the Rockets wanted to go small ball. He's averaging 15 and a half, 4 rebounds and 2 blocks. He's been super good offensively this year, which is surprising for him because he's been known as a guy that's really just a defensive guy. He's got the Hawks in the 4 seed, so I can go with Clint Capella.
Yeah. Both great picks. Yeah, Fox as well. Fox would have been my pick. I feel like he gets no recognition just because our team is so bad. But
but he's been balling, and he's finally made that jump that everyone thought he was going to make.
Yeah, it just sucks that the rest of our team is god awful. But moving on to our third question, we got honorary podcast member TRV Chase. What free agent will make the big? Yeah, facts. Shout out Chase. What free agent will make the biggest impact on their new team? I'm guessing this is NFL.
Yeah.
Question.
Yep. Yes.
But yeah,
I'll take it off here. If I could have cheated, I would have taken Matthew Stafford or Wentz, but I'm going to play it honestly. It's going to be a guy that was signed this season. And it's kind of an interesting pick here. I'm going to go Patrick Peterson of the new Minnesota Vikings. I think putting him in that defense, with a guy like Mike Zimmer, who's a defensive guy, and being a veteran presence for, they got some good cornerbacks out there that really go under the radar. Obviously Jeff Gladney didn't have that good of a rookie season, but I forgot who the other guy is out there playing corner for them. But I think, to bring his ability, he played at a high level in his career, and he still has been pretty decent. And I think that bringing that veteran atmosphere in there can make that Vikings defense just so much more better. And I think that, they have a really high-powered offense to begin with, and now gains Daniel Hunter back. But I think Patrick Peterson is going to lead the secondary alongside Harrison Smith. And I'm going to go with him, making an impact not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that pick because the Vikings defense was pretty atrocious last year, and getting that veteran presence is going to be crucial. I had John Johnson III just because, Cleveland's defense has been pretty loaded the last couple of years with a lot of talent at basically every position except safety. And now they finally, fill that hole that has been pretty glaring the last couple of years. And you get a really, really solid safety. And John Johnson III, coming over from the Rams. And I think, him filling in that last spot, they're going to be scary, man. I mean, I know they just signed Clowney. Who knows what he's going to bring, but on paper, it's scary. Their defense is for real, really, really scary.
Yeah. My pick would have been Clowney because I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on him right now. They've kind of forgot who he is. And I think he's kind of forgot who he is. But if he can come back and be, even 50% of, prime Clowney, that's great pairing alongside Garrett.
Because you can't double team both. And I think when both the guys, when Clowney's on, he's someone that should demand a double team.
Yep. And you forget, I think it was 2 years ago, Niners Seahawks.
Disgusting. 2.5
Western
sacks,
Conference
forced
Finals.
fumble.
Yeah. Western Conference Finals, NFC Championship, whatever. Moving on to our fourth question, coming from my boy Dr. Deze. Is Damian Lillard MVP?
I would have to say no, but I have a good analogy for this year. I think he's Russell Wilson in the NBA. It makes sense. They both play in the same area up there in northwestern U.S. But he has streaks out there when Dame's the best player in the league. But I think for Dame to win MVP, I think it's a lot harder for him because he plays in a smaller market. I think he'd have to get Portland into a top 3 seed. I think he's gonna have to average 30 points per game, average 7.5 assists or not. But I think he should definitely be a top 5 candidate. But I think with the emergence of Jokic, who literally went up 7 points per game, and just some other options out there as well, Joel Embiid, James Harden, stuff like that. I would love to see Dame win MVP. I think he deserves one, but I think he's Russell Wilson. Yeah,
that's a good analogy.
That's a great analogy. It really should be just because, year after year, and especially this year, he's always, carrying them because they always have injuries. And I think this year, especially because, you lose CJ and Nurkic both super early, and they've been out for most of the season. And those are, second and third best players on the team. And they're still in a top 6 position, in the West, which is always loaded. So it really should be. I think it probably is Jokic's to lose now just because Embiid missed some games. But if they since Murray's out, it's really just going to be if Murray's out and they drop a little bit in the standings, then it's going to be tough because Dame practically had the same situation losing, McCollum, who I think would be somewhat of a equivalent to Murray, and he's still stay in the top 6. So. But it should be him, but it'll most likely be Jokic or even Embiid because, he missed a few games, but they've been the number 1 seed all season, and he's been the biggest part. So, but it should be, man. I want to see it just because he puts on every night, clutch time, keeps that team afloat no matter who's in the lineup, who's out. So it really should be.
Yeah.
Quick side question with an MVP, but it sucks.
Yeah.
You might not get one.
Quick side question. You don't need to provide any explanation, but who's having the better season, Dame or Curry?
I'm biased, so I don't think my opinion matters here.
I mean, I think you guys are both biased, but I think Curry's having an insane season. It just sucks that the Warriors are ass.
I mean, Curry had such a great game last night. I was literally going crazy. The and one three-pointer, the step back one that didn't even matter at the point. But I mean, we lost the game. I mean, we'll keep saying it until I die. When Klay Thompson's back, we'll be better. So
yeah,
let it be that.
Man cannot buy a fucking miss right now. Like
he can't, dude.
It is insane right now.
When he hit that sidestep in the corner with like 2 or 3 guys on him, like I just knew it was gonna go in. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Literally, we were down what? I think we were down 5 or something, and I'm just like, 5. All right, Curry's just gonna hit this 3, and then we'll only be down 2, and then that's exactly what he does. Like it's just like inevitable that he's gonna make it now. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's insane. All right, moving on to the next question coming from JJ Dumars. Who will the Niners take 3rd overall?
Wild card prediction here. I'm going Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State University. This is obviously very interesting given that the guys that the media has picked for them is either Mac Jones, which I think has been the heavy favorite at this point, or Justin Fields. But I think you got to look at the guys that Shanahan has coached. It's a lot of guys coming from small name schools. For Jimmy Garoppolo, for example, an Eastern Illinois product, even like Baylor, who I think is not even really a big powerhouse school in football. Robert Griffin III, Michigan State, even still not the best school in Michigan when it comes to football, with Kirk Cousins. And then I think Southern Mississippi was where Nick Mullins was from. But otherwise, I mean, I'm just going to get my point there. I think this kid Lance is special. He's got arm talent and he has the ability to be mobile too. I think he's a little bit mix of Jones and Fields. And I think it's going to be someone that Shanahan might have his eye on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. To answer it directly, it's either going to be Fields, Jones, or Lance. No one else. It's going to be one of those 3. Preferably, hopefully not Mac Jones. I am all on board on Trey Lance as well. I think Justin Fields would be the most hype, but again, I think Trey Lance has similar qualities to Fields, so it's really just going to be whoever. But yeah, hopefully Lance or Fields. But Jones, I just don't get it's just he only started 1 year. He has everything catered to him. Like, I don't know, just like, and he didn't show really like that many great flashes besides just being like a solid, pocket passer really. Whereas these, the other 2 guys, like you said, Liam, they got the athleticism, arm talent, like everything you would want from like a modern quarterback.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, you guys definitely have to go QB. It's just about picking the right one at this point.
Yeah.
But next question comes from Andrew Galvez. Underdog you don't want to face in the first round. I'm guessing this is NBA. So shoot.
Carson, go ahead.
I'll go first. I have one for each conference. Also, shout out my roommate Andrew. He's in there somewhere playing video games. In the East, I got the Celtics just because they're coming on really strong right now, and they have 3 really, really gifted scorers. And I think, in the playoffs, it's either you win by defense or you win by just having, the best offensive weapons. And I think the Celtics have 3 really, really solid ones, in Brown, Tatum, and Walker. When they're all clicking, they're tough, and especially Smart too. So they're coming on the right time. And then in the West, definitely the Blazers, just because, again, they're getting hot at the right time. All their guys are, they're going to be fully healthy by the time the playoffs come around. And I just would not want to play them just because of Dame. I mean, Dame can, win you a series on his own.
Yeah.
I'll go Mavericks for the West. I actually did do West and East as well. Mavericks, I think they had one of the most unguardable players in the league. Honestly, I think he's top 5 up there with Luka Doncic. And when Porzingis is healthy alongside him, it's a deadly duo. They can easily catch fire. I just think the Mavericks, they made a lot of noise last year in the playoffs, almost upsetting the Clippers. Basically just on the back solo-handedly of Luka Doncic. And then in the terms of the East, I'm going with the Knicks. I think they're a gritty team who's a great defensive team, and they're led by an offensive star this year, Julius Randle, who I bet against him to win most improved player, but he's going to win it at this point. I think a team like the Bucks could have a lot of problems facing against them because that would be the matchup at this moment. So I'd go the Knicks and the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I like those picks too. I was thinking those teams too.
Yeah. Next question comes from Mason Newman, NBA Defensive Player of the Year.
I'll be quick with this. I go Ben Simmons. He can guard every position and continues to impress. Even though he's not a shot creator or a jump shooter, he impacts the game tremendously. Gobert's a safe pick as well, and so is Miles Turner. But I think Ben Simmons, being on the top team in the East, he's been able to be out there even without Joel Embiid. He's been able to lock out guys in the perimeter and the post. I got to go with Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons, next question.
Rookie of the year comes from Court Dumars.
Carson?
I think I got to go Edwards just because, he's shown so many great flashes. I mean, he, has the best numbers, but that's also just because, he just kind of has the keys to the offense. So it probably will be Edwards. It would have been LaMelo by far. He was doing some amazing things. But I do like Halliburton the most, and I think it's sad to see Halliburton kind of stuck on the Kings because I think if, the Suns could have easily drafted him, and I think, man, if the Suns had him or, another team that was in that range that is in, a playoff spot right now, he would be a big difference maker in the playoffs. And I think it, probably should be him if he just had more volume, but it's going to go to Edwards.
Where did the Suns draft?
Jalen Smith.
They drafted Jalen
center,
Smith,
Maryland.
Doesn't
He's
really
done
play
nothing
that much.
for them.
Yeah,
just go off that, Carson. Edwards, same thing. But if I had to pick, I'm giving it to Ball. Ball's brought this team who's been literally a dumpster fire organization. Michael Jordan gets made fun of for how bad he's ran this organization, and now they're in the playoffs right now at the 8th seed. I think LaMelo Ball has changed the culture there in Charlotte, and I think he's going to be a hot take. He's going to be an all-star next year. So there we go.
Yep. Yeah. Best basketball prospect in the next 3 years comes from our boy Griff.
Yeah, shout out Griffin being on the podcast. I looked around I know Carson's also a huge recruit guy as well, but I looked into some of the people, and I think I'm going to go Amani Bates here. I don't know how Chet Holmgren's game is going to translate to the NBA. He's a little bit too skinny right now, and he's a little bit – I don't know what position he's going to play. He looks to be a little bit of a Porzingis, more ball handler vibe. But I think Bates reminds me a lot of Michael Porter Jr. I'm not going to go with the basic Kevin Durant assumption, but, the skinnier frame. I think from here on out, before he makes the league, whether he goes to Michigan State, whether he goes to the G League, which some people are thinking, I think he needs to put some more muscle on his frame so he can be a better force on the drive. But I think his potential is, though, as high as Kevin Durant, just the way we've seen him be able to shot create in high school. But high school is obviously a different game. We don't know what it's going to be like. But more reasonably, I think he's going to come in the league and look exactly like what Michael Porter Jr. is right now.
Same. I had Bates. He's going to be getting buckets. Another guy had Jalen Green, who I think, when he gets drafted, he's going to come in and take the NBA by storm. I think just because, the players just aren't really paying attention to him because obviously, you see guys like Cade, we saw Suggs, they've kind of, gotten the massive spotlight from the tournament, but this is someone that has his athleticism off the charts. He, 3-level scorer. And I think he's just going to come in and just go crazy. But also I do have Cade Cunningham because I think, guys like LeBron, Luka, Harden, where they're kind of like that one-man offensive wrecking crew where they, create for themselves and also create for others. I think Cade Cunningham has that kind of game and that kind of talent as well, where he can just be, the offense for a team. But those 3 guys, I think, are my favorite prospects for the next couple of years for sure. Also Suggs. Shout out Suggs. I love Suggs.
Shout out to Suggs. Suggs is insane. Next question comes from Jaden Bellman. Tatum, Luka, or Zion, which guy are you building your franchise around?
This was actually a question we all talked about.
This is a great question, by the way.
Chat.
This was the hardest question out of all of them. Yeah, great question.
But the way I see it is between Luka and Tatum. I mean, the 2 guys that have shown that they can win so far in their career. I think you revisit this question in 2 years, I might probably say Zion, but Tatum provides more defensively while Luka can have an entire offense run through him. The way I see it, you switch guys on their teams. I think the Celtics are a 1 or 2 seed in the East, so I'm rocking with Luka. That's my simple reasoning.
Yeah, same. I would also pick Luka, but there's arguments for either one, and also like you said, Zion, because I think Zion, is at his own space, around the basket is just as dominant as Luka is when it comes to all aspects of the offense. But Zion, keeps doing that point guard work. It could easily be him. But I would still probably take Luka. The Mavericks, Mark Cuban, you got to build around this guy because you got a generational talent right now, and you guys should be in the championship hunt if you just get a solid team around them. But the rest of the guys are kind of cheeks right now.
Makes me so sad that you guys both picked Luka because We literally had Luka on a silver platter, like second overall. He was right there, and we took Marvin Bagley.
You guys didn't think he'd pair with Fox or something? I have no clue. Like,
Ah,
it's tough. That's
You
gonna be
guys are
hard
the
to live
Lions.
off.
It's unfortunate. The Kings are
Yeah.
the Lions
Yeah.
of the NBA. So
I honestly, I think they're worse. They're definitely worse. All right. Next question comes another one from Chase. Most overrated team in the NBA. Ooh.
very, very hard question. Carson and I are going back and forth about this. I'm going to say the Grizzlies, though. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. not being there makes this team a lot worse than what they should be. I think they should be a better team, but at the same time, I don't think they're as good as an 8th seed. I think the Warriors and the Spurs will both beat them when it comes to the play-in tournament. John Morant really hasn't taken a leap as a player this year. It's been kind of disappointing to see. He's been around the same points per game, dropped off significantly from the three-point, which we talked about in our episode in regards to
The check-in.
the NBA check-in. So yeah, I'd say the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I came up with the Pacers. Just they're really disappointing to me because you have you have two borderline all-stars in Brogdon and Sabonis, really really solid guys, and then Karis LeVert is an amazing third option. I mean, I think he just dropped like 30 the other night, and they just have an identity problem, like kind of like whose team it is, and they have really solid role guys. I mean, Turner, one of the best defensive players in the league, Dougie McBuckets, McConnell. Bunch of other solid role guys. They just should be way better than like the 9th seed. Like they should easily be in like that 4 to like 6, 7 range in the East. And it's just like disappointing to see them out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah. Building on top of that, final question comes from Silas Dominguez. NBA Conference Finals team prediction. Silas.
All right, Carson, take it off.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it wasn't Nets Sixers in the East, unless like Giannis like just figures it out and goes ham and gets to the conference finals. But it should be Nets Sixers, and then in the West, Lakers health like all healthy should easily be the Lakers, and then I'd go with the Suns because I think they match up really well with the Clippers. And that's who they'd most likely play in the second round. Whereas the Jazz, they'd either be getting the Lakers or the Nuggets right now, or maybe the Blazers if they sneak in. One of those 3 teams. I just could easily see all 3 of those teams beating them. So I'd probably go with the Lakers and the Suns for the West.
I'm on the same wave as Carson. I think the Sixers and Nets should be the 2 teams facing off. I think it's going to be a wonderful story how these teams were terrible just a couple of years ago. Now they're the top 2 teams in the East. In terms of the Western Conference, though, I would have the Lakers on top, of course, since, if they're healthy, they got Drummond, they got AD, they got LeBron. Never count out the King James. But I actually have the Jazz. I think hopefully the playoff seeding works its way around because, the Lakers might lose a couple more games, might win a couple more games. Who knows what's going on? But I think the Jazz Lakers would be a wonderful story. I think these guys are finally going to click it. I think it should have been Utah this year if they had Murray on their team back healthy. But I'd say Jazz Lakers. And then
Denver.
Before we close it, what?
You said Utah with Murray.
Oh,
Denver.
Sorry, but Denver. Yeah, Denver with Murray.
Yeah.
But no, we had one more question that we didn't answer because it's already been answered. Maxley10, friend of Carson out there, he asked who's the first overall pick in the fantasy football draft, but we have already answered that. So the video should pop up on a little card above you guys right now. So click on that. Go watch our episode on that. It was a really fun one. Chase was on the podcast for that. So if you want to see that,
check that out.
Beautiful segue.
Yeah, great.
Beautiful.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Sunday Talk. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Coast2Coast Podcast to be featured on next week's. Shout out to everyone that sent in a question. It was a great episode, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.